So welcome back to New Jersey Homestead. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of tree husbandry, I guess. We have a small plot of land here, a couple acres, and there's a small grove of trees. And nature left to itself tends to be very wild and the trees will overgrow and stump each other's growth. So what I'm going to do is selectively go through, thin out the tree, the saplings that are growing, so the other ones will grow stronger and better. So we just had a very strong rain, the end of that Hurricane Zeta, I believe. And we got about 3 inches of rain, so it's fairly wet out here, but we'll give it a try and we'll see how it goes. My plan is to mainly use traditional manual tools. The reason why is, you know, my chainsaw is great. It'll cut through this. I'd have the job done in probably half the time. But, you know, the danger element's there. I have to put the chaps on, all the gear. People that don't, I think you're taking a big chance. You know, the chainsaw, that will cut you in a very major way. It's just such a dangerous instrument. So I'm going to give it a try today on this gorgeous Saturday morning. It's probably in the 50s here in New Jersey. Humidity's probably also about in the 50s, so it's a fairly pleasant day. So join me today as we homestead here in New Jersey. First is going to be the wheelbarrow. Now this is my favorite wheelbarrow. I actually inherited it when I bought the house. The people left it, but it's unique because it's a four-wheeled wheelbarrow, but it's a hard wheelbarrow. I saw Gorillas have some that are four wheels, but they're more like a wagon. This one I like because it stands on its own. It can roll with all four wheels, or you can push it up as a wheelbarrow on two. If anybody out there finds one like it, let me know. I will buy it. I've been fixing this one up because it breaks. The plastic's been chipping. I put this cleat in here. I super glued the base. You can see the big hole down here. But it's just such a useful tool. I keep using it. So I'll be using a small chopping axe, a little hatchet. And I also like the half axe on these things for bigger limbs. This is actually a present from my brother-in-law, John. So shout out to John. Thanks for the axe. And this is a traditional felling axe. It has the slope handle to make it easier to chop. Unlike the mauls, this is designed mainly to chop into wood to cut things as opposed to split. They call this the Jersey axe. Years ago, you could tell where a man was from by how his axe handle was formed. And different states, different areas had their own individual axes. And I figured, well, since I'm here in Jersey, I should have a Jersey axe. And a couple of saws for good measure. I have the, I don't know what they call it. It's a Japanese saw, but it's made from Japan, but it's actually made for agricultural use for gardeners. It's a sharp little blade. It gets the job done. Then I have the more traditional saw. And these are going to be more if I want to straighten something up or have it look better. I inherited this from my wife. She had this from her old toolkit. And this is an old saw that I have to cut any bigger elements. And I think that's all we need for now. So this is the grove of trees that I'm looking at. They've grown very tightly together. I'll pull a little closer so you can see it. As you can see, it's a bit of a thicket. These trees are too close together to allow the individual ones to grow better. You have a couple hollies here trying to grow up. Probably leave those. The most of it, I like the trees. I'd like to leave them to grow, but they're not going to do well if they're not properly managed. Well, I've cut into the one, but I'll tell you, it's kind of cool how they're wrapped around each other. Kind of reminds me of that Rodin statue of the lovers. You know, I'm going to leave those two. I think this is going to be a short work because I tend to like trees and I don't like the idea of chopping any of them down. But I think it is the best for the grove out here to have them thinned out a little bit. Now this is a good example. These are all growing right on top of each other. Now this bigger one here is pretty sturdy, and I think this one will lead. Now this little one here I'm going to leave. It's small, I don't think it's anybody's way. There we go. So this one small tree came out with the roots. So I grabbed some shovels. I want to try and plant it down here by the edge. This is indigenous to the area, so it might grow very well here. We'll give it a try. We'll see if it makes it or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. All right, so I'm kind of making the path a little more walkable here. Yeah, this will probably just go. Trying to grow. We'll leave it. This one's just scrappy. I'll take this one down. Get the canopy up a little higher here. Now the spot here is not bad. My plan is to just simply make the path a little more walkable. So I'm going to slice these branches that are overhanging a little. The tree can continue to grow. So on this tree, we're going to take some of these little small branches off. Basically raise the canopy up a little bit. This is a great tree. I'll let that stay and do whatever it wants to do. This bough up here does kind of overhang a bit. It's about head height. But I kind of like having to walk underneath a bough when you're going to an outdoor place like this. On this side we have the holly trees. Now the hollies I like a lot. I think they're a fun tree. They do have these sharp, pointy branches, so they can get to be a bit much. So I'm going to trim this tree back a little bit. So here's where I put together, if you recall one of the earlier videos about the chainsaw mill, I took this one piece of wood and put the two logs underneath to make a bench. And so now I have this so I can sit out and watch Pat. I'm going to probably leave these. They are growing too close together, but I'm not sure which ones are going to be the hardiest. That one looks good. That one over there looks very good. Over here on the far right is bigger, a little bit healthier looking. And you can even see how it was growing. One side was getting sun, the other side nothing, so this tree would have probably been problematic the whole way through. But now this one probably has a better chance of growing up a little better. This one's just growing up crooked. We got these stronger ones right behind it, so we're going to take this one down. Let the other ones have a better chance of growing up. That's pretty good. So these are much sturdier. These should grow pretty well. And we'll see where they end up. I do feel there is something very biblical about doing this. I mean, in the Bible, Adam was supposed to tend the garden. That was his job. And I do think that this is good forestry, if you will. Helping the good trees grow stronger. And the ones that just aren't quite getting off right, sometimes it's better just to trim them back. So I guess there is something very spiritual about this kind of work, which is very interesting. All right, now the groves along the creek I'm going to leave. I think they help prevent erosion. They might grow thick, but we do get flooding here sometimes, and the salt water, the brackish water that overflows, kills off a lot of the trees. So even the scrubby ones I'm going to leave, and it'll be survival of the fittest on the water's edge. All right, here's another flock of trees. This one's pretty sturdy. We're going to go past this one. This scrappy one here we're going to get rid of. Interestingly enough, we've got some pine trees coming in here. I guess they would be more so like the fir trees. But they're pretty good. I like these kind of trees. This scraggly one we're going to take down. I don't think he's going to do much. I kind of think I've taken this one down as well. It's between the fir. We have this very large pine here. That's a mature tree. We're not going to touch this baby, but it's not going to make it. We got a holly tree right behind it, so we'll cut it down, and it should help the ones behind it grow. Now these are fairly good trees, but they're too tight together. So let's see which ones look the strongest. I'm going to take this one down because I want this fir tree to get some good growth. We got like this tree here. It's right behind these bigger ones that are going to do better. We'll just take it down. This little scrappy one really is just not growing properly at all. So we'll take him down as well. Now we have this little one down here. I kind of was thinking of leaving it, but now that I'm looking at it, it's by this tree. It is kind of in the way. I think I'll just take it down. This big one obviously looks good. We're going to leave that one. This one's trying to grow between its bigger brothers, and it's just not going to make it, so we're going to take this one down. Now this one's kind of interesting. It's a very craggy old pine. Yeah, it's going to take up more of the sun, but you got these two good straight trees growing up next to it. I'd rather leave those, and this big one, even though it's a nice tree, it's really growing very wild. All right. Well, I think people oftentimes overlook the importance of animal husbandry. They feel like, and forestry, that the world will grow better without watching. But I do think man has his role in these things, helping to guide the growth of the trees. Now, can man also destroy forests and wildlife in a very uncaring, unspiritual, cruel way? Absolutely. And I think that needs to be prevented at all costs. But, our great president, Theodore Roosevelt, started the National Park Service. I think there are many people that truly look out for nature. I do think it's part of our, bounty of this world that we're in. So, if you like this video, click like and subscribe, and join me on the next episode of Jersey Homestead. Thank you for watching.